Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Boardroom Business. I'm your host, Coach Stephanie, and tonight is going to be a very special guest. If you know anyone that has any kind of ailments, just not feeling well, and they just want to know how they can make themselves feel better naturally, you definitely want to hear my next guest. And she's also homeschooling her children. So if you know anyone that has children and you're not satisfied with the education that you're receiving outside of the home, then make sure you come by tonight with some pen and paper and take some tips. So without further ado, let me bring on Aisha. One moment, please. Aisha, welcome. How are you tonight?
Peace and love. I am doing well and amazing. I'm feeling good. How are you doing?
I am feeling fabulous. Thank you for asking. So thank you for being here tonight. I mean, I've watched your social media grow, and you just have so much knowledge on how to grow herbs and just how to take care of yourself naturally. So before we even get into all of this, can you tell us who is Aisha?
Sure, I sure will. And thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a journey, of course. So I am Aisha Curry L. Most of the people also know me as Aisha Ra L in the community. And I am a mother. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an herbalist, educator, homeschool as well. Been doing that for over several years. And also the founder of Circle 7 Grocery and Gardens Co-op.
Wow. Okay, so how did you get started with all of this naturalness to begin with?
Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna take you back a little bit. So for me, I got started back in 2014. My mother transitioned. She passed away from unforeseen circumstances through whatever powers that may have been going on at that time, not just physical, but spiritual, emotional. So for me, her passing was also like almost a passage of rights for myself to be better, whichever aspect that looked for me, either was take care of my physical, be more in tune with the earth. And the first thing I did was, of course, tune into myself to see how I was feeling emotionally. It was a lot of things going on. I already had my first child, Jaylee. She was 4 years old. So for me, that was her first grandchild, period, and for me, I said, how can I make this change? I don't want to go through this dark space where I'm not feeling well, where I'm just, moving throughout the days like a zombie and not knowing how to be in touch with my emotions. So for me, I really just I meditated on the ground for a minute. I knew what meditation was, but not quite hit home where I was just sitting there like, what am I going to do? Why am I crying? Why am I feeling this? And it felt like a heartbeat from the earth. Like, it's going to be okay. How can we move forward? And from there, I was like, maybe I should grow food. Maybe I should change what I'm eating. And that hit me like, okay, how can I escape from eating my regular food? So for me, the first thing was like, grow your food. And I was like, how do I grow my food? Literally, like, what am I going to eat different? I eat outside of, the fast foods. And how can I do this? So for me, that was like a plant of a seed of thought. My spiritual journey was awakened. I started to see more visions clearly just from that planting one seed. I want to stop there because I don't want, I can take it on, but just planting that one seed gave me the thought of how can I be better? Just that one seed. And from there, it's just taken off in many ways.
Wow. So you just taught yourself, like you went to YouTube University, or did you go to school, or how did you acquire the knowledge to be able to grow plants and herbs?
First, I think I already had couple of books just probably laying around. Something like this was one of my books that I had. It was like African of Holistic from Dr. Layla Africa. I didn't quite read it fully, but I was like, man, this is, it's interesting. And one of my aunties, she gave me this book, and actually it was like 3 books in there. And I was like, you have 3 books in here. What is going on? So that was a sign for me to say, maybe I should pick up some books. Also, I seen my grandmother grow like roses, and my other grandmother from my father's side grow pineapples and different neat things in the house, and I was like, maybe that was a start, but it didn't hit me till several years later. So for me, I just wanted just to start, like, just go buy some seeds and let's see what it do. let's just try it. And tomatoes and okra was my first thing. I didn't grow up eating it a lot, or maybe not at all, maybe like ketchup. So everything was like processed. So I said, let's try, something simple. And I did go to YouTube for a second, and I was like, oh, it just say plant the seed. And from there, I was like, I got this. And from there, it's always been, okay, what do we do from here? If this problem arises from this plant or anything, what do I do and shift to make it grow, to make myself grow? So.
Wow. So what is a starters of farmers? Can I call them a farmer if they are planting their first seeds? What's the beginning stages or phases of becoming self-sufficient with herbs and,
I know that's right. So I really didn't name myself. It was just, I did name myself, but it was more so of, Aisha, hey, am I a farmer or am I a gardener? Usually people start with you become a gardener first. It's something just really quick. You can do something at home, a homesteader, something that's simple, something you just wanted to create for just yourself. It's not really business. It's just, hey, you a gardener now. If you want to be. If not, you just, hey, I just started. I'm just a plantee or plant mom. Most people just keep it simple. I'm a first green thumber. It's many things that you can say, but I just say I'm just starting as a young gardener,
And with you planting your own, do you tell the difference between plants that have been sprayed with pesticides as opposed to all natural?
For me, I can, because I started off with mint. Also, a tip just to run back. Let me also highlight one of my she also a best friend, but a sister mom as well. She also had a garden on the side of her house, and I've always seen her grow like lemons and mint and lemon balm and beautiful hibiscus flowers. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how are you doing this in this small space? And from there, the plants that I started with, like a lemon balm or mint, is still growing in my yard now, on my garden, on my farm now. And just from that one plant, it started roots. And from them roots, it created a whole system. So I also want to highlight that, because I did get the thumbs up of how to grow things from also my wonderful second mom, or her neighborhood mom. Yeah, so I want to just take all the credit. I was a little nosy, like, ooh, how this growing? Let me get a piece of this, and let me take this. And if I see this growing on the side of the road, hey, how about this? So I want to give the credit to, because I'm always one to seek something new. So that was me.
Got you. Is there a seed where you need to plant it at a specific time of the year? And is there anything you can plant all year round? What do people who aren't familiar with this, what should they start off doing?
So it's many ways to start off growing any fruits, vegetables, just produce itself, or even tree or shrubs. For me, not most people, but you can do like a planetary growing or a moon cycle growing, depending on if it's a new moon, full moon, depending on the phases of the moon. You can start off with, like your new moon. Most people will do like, since it's also resonated with something like renewal, most people are planting seeds around that time. It's like planting new thoughts. So people do planting of that nature. Also, people do seasonal planting, crop rotation, companion planting. I started off with something like a perennial where it grows back all the time. It's not just an annual that one time it boom and burst up and you see it and it's gone for the rest of the year. Me, I like perennials because it's always regeneratively coming back. So for me, you can start with some mint. Mint is a heavy runner. So grow that in such a pot, something small. It don't have to be huge. It just grow naturally and it'll run through the ground if you let it. It took over half of my backyard, so I know, and it grew from pots. Lemon balm is also good to start with, something that's good for calming down stress in your nervous system. That's also a perennial, and it could be a runner and run outside of the box if you let it. Rosemary, for me, them type of herbs. Also, what I like is, my favorite is holy basil. It's a tulsi. It's an Ayurvedic herb that smells delicious. And I make many far as medicines out of it, as far as tinctures, even anything dealing with just a natural oil infusing. I do that as well. It's so many I start with, but them top 3 or 4, rosemary, mint, lemon balm, holy basil, Them was my top 4. And then even going on to even oregano, good for antiviral, antimicrobial, things like that, where you can do your seasonings and even also take care of your immune system at the same time. So,
wow, that is amazing. So, do you have to purchase your own dirt or just use the soil that's in your backyard?
So most people, if you don't have access to like Compost Now or like Food Well Alliance, one of these organizations that help farmers in the community, if you're not access to those, then you are welcome to go to, like your box stores, which I don't, always recommend, but you'll be able to put together something or find something like organic gardening soil. And then you also want to read what's in the gardening soil, because some things may not be acceptable to growing certain plants. And it's just also commercially, put in and boxed up and bagged up for you. So also that comes with reading the ingredients. Just say it's, just because it say organically on the bag, see exactly what's in each ingredient. So, this is going to be good for my root system. This is good for aeration as well. This is good for blooming plants where it's tomatoes or something like a squash. So that goes into people learning how to create their own soil. So compost, using your scraps from what you're eating, creating something in a little bucket and be able to put it in a backyard or somewhere far where you're regenerating the soil, where it's wood chips, where it's grass clippings, food peelings, things like that. Nothing hard like human bio field, something like that. Some people can do that, but if you're in an apartment or if you're in just a home yourself, you want to keep it light and easy. They also have new like machines that's like compost. You put it on your counter. I haven't did that yet. Now I'm just an outdoor compost. I throw it out there and let the deer eat it, or I turn my soil. But they do have something that if you live in an apartment or somewhere that's just secluded for you, like a studio, you can use a compost machine and just put it in there and it rotates around itself. And it gives off like no smell, and you'll be able to use that compost and grow your own food in it. That becomes your base, okay. So, but I use like Food Well Alliance, Compost Now. They drop off tons of compost in the backyard where I can feed my whole field. Or if I wanted to teach a class and I can utilize people taking home soil to see what it looks like in it. And even with that compost, I have to use like vermiculite to aerate it because it can become compacted, the soil itself. So for me, it was food clippings, food peelings, waste fruit, things like that, produce. And so as many ways you can get some soil, but we could go into steps further when people take the class, or just hit me up and we could talk about it.
Wow. So what's the purpose of the compost? So what I understand for beginners is that you're just taking your scraps before you throw them away in the garbage, you put it in the compost. And what's the purpose of a compost?
Healthy soil. You know what's going in it. You're not just counting on someone to just put soil together, and it could be by a highway. It could be oil spilled in it, water, different water contaminations could go into that, and it can affect your root system. Just like the body, you putting all these different other ingredients, you just eating, not knowing the specific things that's, decaying or, killing within our body. We don't know all that. So for the soil, a healthy soil is best. You started with a good foundation. Hey, I ate apples, I ate bananas, I ate mint, I ate kale this week. I even threw in some eggshells, coffee grinds from the next door neighbor or my grandmother. I'm using what I see and allowing it to break down from the leaves to the clippings to wood chips. And we just you're making like a sandwich, and you just flipping it over and rejuvenating the soil from what you already have instead of going out and getting it.
Is there an expiration date on the amount of compost you can leave out in the barrel? Does it rot or anything, bad bacteria or anything to be concerned about?
Well, yes, if you're just using it in a bucket and there's no aeration for it, then it can create a smell. So that's when the coffee grinds come in place. And that's just if they want to use a bucket. See, from the bucket, you want to go into your compost system. See, I have like a 3-layer compost system. I want to shout out my brother Noah and the crew for assisting that with me. It was very easy. Pallets and some zip ties. create a 3-layer compost system with me, for me. And I'm able to take, big piles of it, flip it over, turn it over, put it into another area, then utilize what's broken down into the soil that's coming up for the next beds. So if you're using just a bucket, then you want to make sure you're aerating it, because it will create a type of a smell and an anaerobic feel to it where it's bubbling, and you don't want that. So it always have to be air in it, or you're creating something outside where it's a layer. You're just taking a little gate. And also it was another way that I learned is called an African keyhole. It's just taking some bricks and some gating fence, and you're just piling on the scraps. You're making like a pile layer. Then from the bottom, you get the vermiculture. The vermiculture is where you get the earthworms. You get all the good stuff that's coming out the bottom, and you just pile it on in this area where it's secluded. So it's always aerated. It's not getting compacted with smell. Something's always going through it because you're creating that fencing around it, and you're just putting on top, and it's just decaying from the bottom. And you're taking from the bottom, feeding the healthy soil and the worms into your bed.
Okay. Wow. You definitely got this down pat. I didn't know it was that intrinsic. But the other day, I stopped by your store and I had some of your Blue Vibe limeade. It was, I tried to save it for this episode, but I just couldn't wait. It was so delicious. It has organic blue spirulina, limes, fresh garden herbs, and you, et cetera, et cetera. And you created this. Tell me more about why you put this together and what it does.
Now, that's a good one. So I started off making these limeades because, especially spirulina, because it's high in iron. You get most of your vitamins just from that plant or algae itself. So when you taste the spirulina by itself, most people be turned off like, people like alcohol but don't like certain other things. So for me, I said, that could help build the immune system. So for my children, since they're more plant-based, most people's like, they complain about you're not getting your nutrients, and the naysayers, you like, well, they're plants. We're eating plants. There's nutrients in plants, but we have to go back to the science. So with the spirulina, what I did was just use some organic agave so you can get a little sweetness to it, and definitely organic limes or lemons. I'll get that blend and add especially spirulina in it for itself without the infusion of my garden herbs, which we can go into next time, but that's a specialty. But I just wanted to create something that's more so for the children, and the adults start to like it. Like, hey, how can I get a gallon in my household? This one bottle is not going to work for one child. Like they drunk it by themselves, So for me, I was like, well, if it's helping with the children, cough, colds, ache, building their bones, their immune system, why not offer something that's great for my children? And I see my children not getting, having any vaccination, none of that. I don't trust a lot of other people dealing with my children. So I'm the first teacher. I'm the first medicine that they should come to. So with them drinking, and they love delicious drinks, why not put something like spirulina inside of a drink and make it refreshing, make you feel good, your digestive system flows better, energy is good and high. It's not like they're in a mood. So all of that contained in that bottle, where it was specially made from children to adults for just whole families, even to cookouts. I've seen people say, hey, can you bring some of that drink to the cookout? Even the elderberry. So it took off by itself without me doing too much, just offering it to my clients. Hey, try this for your daughter. Try this for your cough and cold. Try this while you're, I had my cousin, she was pregnant with twins. Try this to boost your iron. And I mean, you try to battle the system, but I'm telling them, hey, do this before you go back to the doctor. Be on this, drink your spirulina throughout the day before you get there. See what they say. And they had no complications. Birth beautiful twins.
Wow. That's beautiful. And so, as a mother, I can see that you're really pouring, all of the information, wisdom, and knowledge that you have, and you even homeschool them. Now, why is it important for you to homeschool your children?
For me, I started off because of different things that's just been happening in the school. I loved school when I was there, but it was like, what did I really take away where I can say, oh, I am great at this coming from school? I love cheerleading, love sports, love dance, stuff like that. but what can I actually do to make it, sustainable for my life? So for me, for my child, I did start off my first child, which is about to be 15 now. I started her in a school, but she had old school teachers, like teachers who will call you and say, hey, this is going on, the school is doing whatever, just inform you. One of them old school teachers, shout out to, Mama Troy and Mr. Anderson, like, ooh, they held it down from the careness of how they take care of your child. But when they moved on and said they're not able to do pre-K or kindergarten, I seen a shift in my daughter's attitude from her first year going into, I think it was like first grade, maybe, not even that. And I gave it a couple of weeks and it was children in there like terrorizing, kicking the back of her shoes. Why you eating kale wrap? Oh, your smoothie is this. And it's like, really? Y'all like 5 or 6? Like, what's happening? And and that triggered me to where it was like, it's not just, the children. It has to be a base where they're getting it from the parents, who they may be staying with. So for me, I was like, okay, I can't keep coming up here every day just because somebody want to kick on the shoes. So let me withdraw you and see what I'm able to do. I'm intelligent. I can do this. So I got into it because it was very important for my child to bloom how she wanted to bloom. And for my children now, all 3 of them, is I want them to see grow and feel and be who they are, not constricted to, you need to do this, you look like this, you need to be this, and directed by other forces, when it's like mommy is living this ideology where it's love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Become you, speak your truth, be who you are, don't just get conformed. And a lot of our children have been conformed to society and music, and when they go to school, it's like you don't know exactly who you are because you wasn't taught who you are from the house. So we lost our culture. And what new children coming to school is like, what is the culture? It's the fast-paced culture. It's the I don't respect adults or elder type of culture. Unless your parents was like, hey, I can see you do what you want to do, but this is where we come from. Always respect, have honor, honor yourself. Don't just be out here being anything. So for me, I wanted to make sure I instill that in my child. You're able to do gymnastics while going to homeschool. You're able to do the financial literacy class, do equestrian, be around culture, come with me farming and learning who these circle of great people who I'm with. In case anything go down, mommy introduced you to the right village and the right tribe. So it's not like, something may happen and you conform to something else. Oh, my mommy done told me to go to this school and now I got to be with such and such. And know who you are in any room. So that's how I teach and speak to my children, not just as, you're a smaller person like, ooh, baby. No, we're having conversations. Let me know how you feel. We've gone through this ups and downs through life, and it's a journey. So with my daughter, she's been on a journey with me where it's like, mommy, I see you coming from this to that. You went from this type of lifestyle to this. And it's really important for me to show up authentically with her so she can be exactly who she want to be.
That's right. That is so beautiful. And yes, I was going to ask you, when you're homeschooling children, what kind of activities do you include them in outside of the household so that they are able to share experiences with children their ages? And you mentioned ballet or, so it's what kind of
gymnastics. I want to also shout out the Liberated Minds Homeschool with Queen Thais. I've been with Queen Thais for several years since my daughter was 6. And she has been booming. We went from a house homeschooling, which it was about 15 to 20 children. I'm teaching physical education. I'm teaching the aspect of Egyptian yoga, martial arts, Hawu Tai Chi. And from there, we grew into going to the Omenala Griot Museum, where we had more children, more family involved. So it was always that connection where it's like, you're not going to be by yourself. I don't know the aspect when people think of homeschool is like you're secluded. You don't talk to nobody. It's so much to do. You got time to create the schedule. It don't have to be an 8-hour schedule where your child is there. It can be the first 3 to 4 hours of the day. Hey, how can we get up and set the tone for the day where it's not long and draggy? So with Queen Thais and the Liberated Minds, it became even more family tight. I mean, I was able to call on her, call on the mothers in the community, also get certified through her program to, you certify yourself as a homeschooler, but this even more solidified it where now it's important. You're setting a standard and a culture for your homeschooling. So with Queen Thais and the other mothers, Mama Major, I love them dearly because they pour into me like my mother, my aunties, like, and so when you grow up with that, they want to see the best for your child. So with that, I was like, oh my goodness, this is lovely. So we went from physical homeschooling, which I still do with them here, but also they have their online schooling. Okay. So they get to, learn from teachers in Ghana. You have teachers all over, even Atlanta. You have them everywhere where I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
And it helped because you get to just talk, and my child gained friendships and best friends and meetups, a lot of meetups. Yeah. So I want to be able to create that space where it's not just, oh, we're online, or, oh, we just got to keep showing up here. No, today we can take a break and go to Six Flags. Today we can go to the Fern Bank and do this. Or even though home is priority because it teaches you how to take care of your home, which a lot of people just kind of dog out homes. We don't care where we be at. No, it teaches you how to take care of the home. What's your responsibilities here before you leave the house? Hey, make sure the garden is watered. We harvested what we needed to, or either or. You wash the dishes, you clean. It teaches routine. It keeps you in alignment with when you grow up to be in your own space or in the backyard, because we're going to have land. And I don't believe in like kicking you out at 18 and, you're grown. No, we're growing. We need foundation. We need each other. We need tribe. So that stemmed from the homeschooling to my everyday life, to their life. Now that they know people, now that my child's able to identify herb from outside and say, this is good for this. I'm like, oh, they make the connection because you're allowing them to be geniuses. You don't stifle them at this age. Hey, you learn this and I tell you, we can be stern, but it's also like let them free flow and learning because they're soaking up so much good stuff now. Why stifle that?
Yes, especially when they're young. They're like sponges.
They can't help it. They can't help it. You keep saying, hey, don't touch this, don't do that. Teach them why they shouldn't touch the candy. Don't whoop them and say, you give them the candy one day and say, well, you can't have it today. Well, they're acting out because you didn't explain, hey, this ingredient in this is butt whooping material. You can tell when the child got all the candy, you like, oh my goodness, you about to, I don't know, hope your mama don't whoop you today. It's a balance. So you teach them healthy alternatives. How to make a popsicle. How can we make a mint popsicle? Let's go grab the mint. Let's grab the limes. Let's squeeze it. Let's mix it up and put it in a tube. And how does that taste? Oh, you don't like it? Okay, let's do a new one. Mango this. It's experiments. It's science.
Yeah.
Self-sufficiency. We lose ourselves when we think we don't know our bodies. So learn your body at a young age where it's like, oh, when my stomach hurt, a child able to identify, oh, mommy, I need some tea. How about that ginger? Remember, and when you hear a child say that, you're like, oh my goodness, how do you know? That helps with that. So that's my children. Like they know, hey, when something's going on, what's the first thing they grab? So
Oh, wow. And I can confirm I homeschooled my two daughters when they were younger. And then when I'm from Chicago, so when I moved to Georgia, I had to put them in a public school because I was pursuing my profession. And because they were homeschooled, they scored so high that they really needed to be like 2 or 3 grades above their level. But because of their age and the schools wanted to keep them around the same peers, they put them just 1 year ahead. But there is significance when it comes to homeschooling and just investing in your children beyond what the generalized public or private schools offer. So congratulations on, just taking care of yourself, your family naturally, and just really just showing love all over your family and your community. You are doing it. Do you have any words of affirmation or any inspiration or anything you would like to share with our viewers and listeners on anything?
Oh, okay. So I can share that I just don't sell herbs and create the herbs. I want to let you know that I teach you how to become your own medicine because we are our own prophets. So teaching you how to become your own medicine to figure out what you need and to decipher, hey, when something's going on with me, what do I need to grab? Even just for self. So just don't think, hey, she just sell herbs and I could just pop up and grab some herbs from you. No, I'm going to teach you why you are the medicine. What can we combat right then and there with just the power of your mouth and your hands? What do you have? What are your tools? So I want to leave that you are your own medicine. You are your first medicine. You are your first teacher. Downloads from the universe, Allah, you get those, but how do you apply that? So I'm going to just leave you with you are your own medicine.
Wow.
Don't second guess yourself. You know what's intuitively right for you and what's not for you.
That is true. That is true. The body naturally wants to take care of itself. We just get in the way.
We just get in the way because of our thoughts and actions and what we do on a daily basis and what we heard on the internet so quickly. The new thing is TikTok. I had TikTok. I think I still have TikTok, but the decipher the information from TikTok to Instagram, my mind is overwhelmed. And I say, hey, what does work for you? Just because somebody said it how does it work for you? How can you apply that in your own life where it's not just a quick moment of, TikTok. It's, hey, now it's in my cabinet. Now I know what to do for me exactly. Not show and tell, just what can I do for me and speak about it highly.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I would love for you to come back in a couple of months and just share with us more information and knowledge on how we can take care of ourselves naturally. And how can people find you on social media?
So you can find me at the Circle 7 Grocery. Of course, my business is Circle 7 Grocery and Gardens. We are cooperative, learning how to build more farmers in the community in our undeserved neighborhoods or unsupported neighborhoods. And the goal is to not just to create a grocery store, but a grocery store where it comes with classrooms where you're learning where your food is coming from. So as soon as you hit the door, hey, you're meeting a farmer, you're meeting the person behind the product, or at least some type of aspect where you can take a class right then and there when you go in this type of hybrid grocery store. So stick with me, y'all. It is a journey, not just for what we're doing now, but I'm setting this for the next generation. We have to start somewhere. So that's why the grocery is spelled like that, because you need to walk into a grocery store where it's still a classroom. You're still feeling it. You're feeling good to go in there, not drained. Somewhere happy you can be.